Eat Lux your way with the Lux Cravings boxes from Taco Bell. There's the classic $5 box, the indulgent $7 box, and a whole new obsession in the $9 box, the Flamin' Hot Grilled Cheese Burrito. Try the Lux Cravings boxes at Taco Bell today.
How's your day going?
Going good? Thank you, yes.
Check out the all-new Blue and Orange store at the Boise State Hall of Fame. The Blue and Orange store has your best game day gear. We're talking jerseys, hats, bumper stickers, car flags, more than 4,000 hats on the hat wall. If you want the best Boise State gear, make sure you check out the Blue and Orange store online at theblueandorangestore.com or the all-new Blue and Orange store down at the Boise State Allen Noble Hall of Fame.
As sports fans, we may cheer for different teams, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. We want the game to be big. And with 3 levels, 30 cabanas, a 143-foot screen, 6 clean pools, and endless cold drinks, it doesn't get any bigger or any better than Stadium Swim in Las Vegas. All sports, all seasons. It's more than a pool deck. Stadium Swim. It's the only thing like it in the world.
Really, guys?
What? Jackson's always has those game ready.
Let's go!
It's the all-wheel drive event at Lithia Ford of Boise. From hunting trips to ski trips to trips to Grandma's house. Nobody does AWD like LFB. Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
Find your sun with Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. Cold, refreshing, and made for moments like these all year long. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser.
When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust rowpaint.com to get that job done right.
Welcome to the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show from Bronco Nation News. Game time is approaching, and we're getting you ready with the latest pregame news, interviews, analysis, and more from BNN. BNN broadcasts come from the Sun Cruiser Studios. Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea, made with real iced tea and real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. Crack open a Sun Cruiser and let the good times cruise. Have a pregame score prediction or comment? Let us know in the ICCU YouTube chat or leave us a message on the Signature Roofing voice box at speakpipe.com/BNN. The BNN pregame show is presented by Lithia Ford of Boise and our major sponsors Jackson's, Taco Bell, Idaho Central Credit Union, rowpaint.com, and the Blue and Orange store. At Lithia Ford of Boise, we're proud to stand with Boise State Athletics. Through our NIL marketing partnerships, we're investing in the future of student athletes. Lithia Ford of Boise, here to get you there, wherever that may be. Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho. Broadcasting from the Sun Cruiser Studios, here's BJ Rains with the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show on Bronco Nation News.
They call it Laradise here in Laramie, Wyoming. It is cold, it is windy, but the Bronco Nation News team has made it to the Arena Auditorium here in Laramie, Wyoming for Boise State basketball as they look to win a second straight game tonight. against the Wyoming Cowboys. The Broncos in the building. Leon Rice just finished taking his beet juice shot before he started slapping five with all the players. They got the beet juice, probably had the elevation machine this week. All the tricks are out as the Broncos get set to play at Abe Jackson, the highest elevation in all of college basketball, and they let you know that. The sign is right there next to the locker room, but the Broncos in the building, on the court, warming up. A unique venue here named the Arena Auditorium. That's right, and we're here live to talk about it with you on Bronco Nation News. Got my man Abe Jackson. You'll hear him and Bob Beeler coming up in about 23 minutes over on 670 KBOI on the Bronco Radio Network in Learfield. But Abe, you finally caught your breath. I still haven't caught mine. They've got us seated up here in the corner of the arena, not the best seats for the media. You and Bob, of course, are down there courtside. You'll have a great seat, but we're here and excited for some basketball tonight.
Yeah, and hopefully the Broncos can continue this nice offense that they've put together the last couple games. UNLV, of course, was a loss, but the offense overall was run really well. And then the game against Colorado State, I think maybe their best conference game, even though they got another win against New Mexico. That was like what we usually had seen with the Broncos, where the first half was really bad and the second half was really, really good, and they got a win. So nice two complete games offensively in these last two home games.
Plenty of storylines to discuss, but when you come to Laramie, you got to start with the elevation. And I told you, Abe, they put the sign right there next to the locker room. Welcome to the highest elevation in all of college basketball. Altitude, I guess, is the correct word.
Well,
if I could read.
That's actually a new one. I think that's new this year, because usually it just had that 7,220 and it just said, "How's your oxygen?"
And the warning signs.
Yeah.
Yes, the warning signs. But they could put this anywhere in the arena, Abe, and it's right next to the visiting locker room. This is the number one highest elevation, all 365 Division I basketball schools right here in Laramie, Wyoming. And they like to let you know that during the pregame warm-ups or during the pregame announcements. They say, welcome to the highest elevation.
It's on the court. It's painted underneath the free throw line.
Painted right on the free throw line, as you can see right there. And they try to play that up to their advantage as much as they can.
Sure, of course. And it is a thing. I mean, it really is. You can feel it. You know, BJ, you're about 30 rows up here, maybe some 25, 30 rows.
Yeah.
And just walking up here, you can feel it. I mean, you can definitely feel it. So I think there's a couple different ways you can go about it when you're a coaching staff. Is one, you can not bring it up, right? Just don't get out of your mind. It's not a thing. Or you can lean into it. And I think that there's some coaches this year that are really leaning into it and you know, what can we do? And the coaching staff for quite a few years now, and the players have been taking these beet juice shots before this game, before Air Force, before Colorado State. They feel like that helps them deal with the elevation. There was also something that I think San Diego State did where they were here less than 36 hours, because something about 36 hours is when your body really starts to not adjust to it. You know, you still are on your own elevation, I guess, when 36 hours. And then once it strikes midnight, then all of a sudden you don't feel well. I don't know.
Well, maybe that's why the Broncos, they didn't get into almost 7 o'clock last night.
I think that was part of it. I think they're leaning into all the things they can do. I mean, you're not going to keep the guys away from knowing about it. Like you said, it's everywhere in this building. So they're leaning into it. And, you know, the Broncos have had some success here. I think they're 11-4 overall.
They are, under Coach Rice, 11-4 here. I did my homework once again, Abe. I did some notes today, sat around the hotel. 18-2 in their last 20 overall against Wyoming. They really have dominated this series. 18-2 in their last 20. As you said, Leon Rice 11-4 here at Wyoming. Leon Rice 21-7 overall against Wyoming. And in their last 11 here, the Broncos are 9-2. They've won 3 games in a row here in Laramie. So you can talk all you want about the elevation and all the kind of stuff. Leon, I think, has a very good plan with his subbing. He subs a lot, which probably helps. This team has a lot of depth. They play a lot of players. But you mentioned the beet juice. Like, they have a pretty good pattern here that has seemed to work most of the time.
Yeah, and I think really the main thing is that in this run, I think it's rare that Wyoming's had a better basketball team than Boise State. I mean, I think they might have. I think it was in 2015 with Larry Nance Jr. and this little white point guard Adams, who was like, 6 foot maybe,
Josh
but had
Adams,
about a 45-inch vertical. So they were really good. They ended up winning the conference. But overall, I mean, Boise State has had the better basketball team. So the record kind of just shows that Boise State has been better. But it is different in this building. And like you mentioned, though, they have a deep team this year. The Broncos do. They can go to the bench quite a bit, and this is one of those games that could help. I think you might see Bun Boom off the bench for some minutes here and there. Wouldn't even be surprised if you see maybe even Ray Bergeson get in for a little just spot minutes here to give a quick breather for somebody, because 7,220 no matter how much you prepare for it, if you drink a gallon of beet juice, it's still going to be a little bit harder.
Yeah, they were hydrating today. I saw them at the team hotel. Every time they walked by, they had a bottle of water with them or something just to stay hydrated, because they have had some guys cramping up the last couple of games, and that's not something you want to see here at the Elevation.
No, it was Andrews at UNLV, and it was Buchanan in Colorado State against the Rams. So, yeah, hopefully all the hydration and beet juice and this and that will help them.
All right, he's Abe Jackson. Again, 18 minutes. You'll hear him and Bob Bueller on the official pregame show over there on Learfield, the Bronco Radio Network, 670 KBOI back in Boise. That's at 6 o'clock. And what'd you like about the last game? Obviously, the last two games, I know they lost in overtime to UNLV, but we saw some signs, especially on offense, that some things were getting better. And certainly all around, it looked a whole lot better against Colorado State.
I think the main thing has been Dylan Andrews. I mean, he has played really well at the point guard position the last two games. Shot 50% at UNLV, had one turnover. Shot 5 out of 11, so at 48%, 45% against Colorado State, only had one turnover. So we played 30 minutes in each game and has only had one turnover. And he's taken, I think, the right amount of shots. That 7 to maybe 10 or 11, I think, is where he should live with his shot attempts in a game, and not up to that 16 or 17, which we've seen him take. So when your point guard isn't playing well, it really has a bit of a trickle-down effect on your team, because they have the ball in their hands the most. So if they're not making great decisions, it'll affect you. But in turn, if they are making great decisions like Dylan Andrews is right now, and he's knocking down some shots, it just helps the offense immensely.
And I was talking to Tim Durier this morning when we saw you in the lobby there. I had Tim Durier on our pregame show. Appreciate him. And we're actually going to play that interview again for folks that missed it coming up in a little bit. But he talked about Wyoming being a little thin on the interior. In the last two games, we've really seen Boise State attack the paint, drive to the paint touches with the big guys, and that's going to be another key tonight. What do you think flipped? Why all of a sudden the last two games did they just start attacking and driving more? And like I said, that's going to be, it sounds like, another key tonight.
Well, I think that's what this team was all about from the very beginning, and maybe it just took them a while to get into the groove, and it's been kind of a little while trying to get there. But you have a good guy, a good post player in Drew Fielder, who you got him through NIL. You paid money to get him, so you need to get him the ball inside and get some offense rolling, and he can deliver. We've seen him deliver over some really big guys this year too. And then also Dylan Andrews is driving and making better decisions as well. So I think those two guys have really helped the Broncos, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see him dump it down into Buchanan, dump it down into Fielder, maybe Meadow if he has a mismatch that he can back down and get some points in the paint.
What else in terms of just overall this team? Well, we mentioned the rebounding. They surprisingly got out-rebounded three games in a row. They won the rebounding against Colorado State, but only by 2. It would seem like that's still an area that's going to be a huge focus.
Always. I mean, if they're having a great year and out-rebounding people by 10, or if they're struggling from the boards like they are right now, it's always going to be a focus for Coach Rice. And you've gone over the numbers. I mean, the numbers defensively and the numbers rebounding show that if you get to a certain point, or if you dominate like they have in the past, that you're going to get to a certain postseason. Now, that's probably a pretty long shot at this point, having to win the Mountain West tournament, but get some momentum going. You got a great stretch of games right here: Colorado State, Wyoming, Air Force, San Jose. And I think all these next 3 games, I think you can beat them on the boards.
Well, as I mentioned, Boise State on the court warming up, going with the blue uniforms tonight. I like the new blue with the orange trim. I know they've been going orange and black and some of these other colors on the road of late A, but I like the good old-fashioned blue uniforms tonight. They're not expecting much of a crowd. I was asking the SID for Wyoming about what they were expecting for the crowd tonight. He goes, well, it's a little windy tonight, so they may not show. I'm like, a little windy? Like, come on. But they seem to not draw well, even when they're good sometimes. And a lot of fans come from hours away and things, and so the weekend games are better for them. I know this is a 6:30 start, which also is a little tough for folks that work, but they've got folks that come from Casper and other 2-3 hours away. They get much better attendance on the weekends, so they have not drawn well of late, and it sounds like probably will not have a huge crowd tonight, which presents its own problems for Boise State, because it's not one of those loud, raucous environments where it gets you up and gets you excited. It's very easy in a building like this to kind of sleepwalk into the game and let Wyoming get some confidence and think they can beat you. I mean, you've played in packed houses, you've played in empty houses. We may be having this same conversation next Tuesday in San Jose, but when it is not necessarily a big crowd, and I feel like in this arena as opposed to San Jose, it feels even emptier because of how big it is.
Yeah.
What kind of challenge is that?
It's a mental challenge for sure. It's so much more fun to play in a big arena. I mean, whether you're on the home or on the road, when you do something and either 10,000 people go crazy when you're at home, or you do something and 10,000 people come completely quiet. I mean, that is fun to do. That's fun to be a part of. So in we're in a quiet environment with not a big crowd, you just got to kind of bring the energy yourself, and you got to feed off the benches, feed off the coaches, feed off your guys on the court as well. But I don't think this team Coach Rice teams really haven't had a problem in, on not well-attended games bringing the energy.
Well, also on the road, they have won 24 road games in the last 5 years, Abe, which is tied with San Diego State for the most in the conference. So if they get a win tonight, they'll have the most road wins in the conference the last 5 years. They are 24-16 on the road the last 5 years, but have lost at Nevada and at UNLV already on the road this year. So some news with Wyoming, though. Their second leading scorer, Naz Meyer, a 6'7" freshman, averaging 13.7 points per game, and it's a little bit of a drop-off after him. I mean, him and Leland Walker are by far their two best players. He's also their leading rebounder at over 5 rebounds a game. He's down there in a boot, and he is out tonight.
Yeah, and the Broncos can tell you how hard it is to win some games when one of your best scorers and rebounders isn't playing. That with Buchanan out at UNLV. So it's going to be tough for Wyoming. I think Boise State's a better team than Wyoming at full strength on both sides. So it'll be even tougher for the Cowboys losing their best rebounder and second best scorer.
So what do you make of this game and this matchup? Boise State dying for a win here. And before we get to your keys, real quick, you got Air Force and San Jose coming up here, Abe. Like, you find a way to win this game.
Yeah.
You got a chance to get to a 4-game winning streak, possibly get back to 5-5 in conference play. Like, this does seem like a pivotal game here to really try to get this thing back on track.
It does, and how the conference is kind of shaken out, too. I feel like that maybe the top two teams are going to separate themselves. Even though Grand Canyon did beat Utah State the other day, I still think San Diego State and Utah State are going to be the top two teams in the league when all is said and done. But then that third and fourth position, I mean, there could be quite a few losses with that third place and the fourth place team in the regular season that end up getting the bye. So getting the Colorado State win was big, and then getting these next three, take a 4-game win streak into Phoenix to see Grand Canyon, who plays so well at home, one of the best home court environments in the country when the students are back, and the students are back there. So try and get some momentum starting here in Laramie.
All right, how do they do that? What are your keys to the game? And I'm going to point out the free throw line. Wyoming fouls as much as anybody in America, and they give up more points at the free throw line than almost any team in America. So that helps Boise State, because Boise State is one of the best teams at getting to the free throw line and making free throws. We'll see how the referees, and we'll get to that storyline here in a minute, call this game. But if they call a lot of fouls and Boise State can get to the free throw line, that's one of the many keys for me. But also gotta attack the paint, punch it inside for me. And also I want to see, we mentioned that rebounding battle, but what for you, anything else, unless I stole your thunder there, how does Boise State head to the airport for the charter home tonight with a win?
I think it's creating pressure at the guard position. I think that's where it starts, and not just on the defensive end, but also on the offensive end. Make them feel you with your penetration and your driving. That'll open up kicks to the three. It'll also open up dump-offs off to the post, because the guy has to come over and help. But when you get in there, it's about decision-making for our guards. It's about making the right decision. 1, taking care of the ball, and 2, if your shot's there, you can take it, but you don't need to force anything, because there are going to be some shooters open, I think, because they'll be able to get by their men and get into the paint.
Well, I appreciate you. I do have good news for you. They're going to let me do the post-game show down by the court, so you're not going to have to walk back up here after the game. But good luck on the call with Bob. Go get some self-serve ice cream in the media room there at halftime, maybe, if you get a chance. Go get some ice cream in the media room here. But thanks, man.
Yeah,
appreciate it. Appreciate Abe Jackson for coming on. There he is, Abe Jackson. Always appreciate him. You can hear him and Bob Beeler in about 10 minutes over on 670 KBOI, the Bronco Radio Network, and Learfield. We always appreciate Abe Jackson for coming on and his support and his help doing these shows. And now Abe gets to make the nice long walk back down to the court. You see where they've got us set up here. And I know I'm extremely out of shape, folks, but you do feel it. You get up here and all of a sudden you are breathing a little heavy, I guess you could say. So looking forward to this one. This game is going to start at 32 after the hour. There's no slide. This game is on the Mountain West Network, as you see at the bottom of the show, the bottom of the screen there. And this game will start. It will tip off at 6:32. So the timeouts are a little smaller when it's on the Mountain West Network. So this has a chance to be a pretty quick game tonight. I would suspect by 8:30 this game is over. I would suspect by 9:30 this team is almost airborne, and it wouldn't shock me if they're back in Boise by 11 o'clock or so. At the joys of having a team charter getting back tonight for Boise State. That's a big deal for them, and then they'll have the extra day to get ready for the Air Force game. But this is a very interesting game tonight. Somebody mentioned the point spread. I believe Wyoming is favored by 1. Now, part of that has to do with the Ken Pom and the metrics, and a lot of those numbers still favor Wyoming ever so slightly, in part because of the full season metrics. Wyoming got off to a much better start. They had some great early season metrics, and then once you kind of factor all that back out, lately, Boise State certainly has played better lately. But when you factor in the whole season and the whole numbers, Wyoming's metrics have this as a 1-point win for Wyoming. And, sure enough, that's what the spread is. It started at Boise State -1. It is now Wyoming favored by 1 point tonight in this matchup. So a little surprising. I mean, on paper, you would think Boise State's a little better, but Boise State had the 4-game losing streak. That killed a lot of their numbers and their metrics. And the computers, you spit it all in there. They take the full season of data. They say Wyoming is 1 or 2 points better tonight, however you look at it. So I would think, I would think this is a game that if Boise State plays well, they should be able to win. But it's a tricky game, not much of a crowd. It's cold outside. It's windy. This is a very unique gym. If you look at it, it's a very wide, round gym. It is a circle. So a lot of the seats are a little further away from the court. They're not as steep, and it's a unique venue for college basketball. If I raise it up here, I mean, it's pretty big. They've got seats that go a whole nother level up past what you can see back there in the shaded area. Those seats go all the way back up to the top. I mean, this place, when it's full and rocking, it is huge for Boise State. So it's huge for any team that comes in here. Sorry, I lost my camera there. I'll see if I can get it back. But let's see what we got here. There we go. Sorry about that, folks. Our live feed decided it wanted to stop working there. So there we go. But they're not expecting much of a crowd, as I said. The game is on the Mountain West Network. If you don't have the app, it's on your phone, on your smart TV. Just download the Mountain West Network app. If you don't have that, you can go to themw.com. Again, themw.com. You can download the app, and you can watch the game, or you can, just watch the game right there online. You don't even have to have an app. Watch it online at themw.com. So if you're watching this right now, you must have an internet connection. That means you'll be able to watch this game. We are in the Sun Cruiser studios. Sun Cruiser, we know the Buchanans will have the Sun Cruisers flowing tonight, and always appreciate Sun Cruiser, whether it's the iced tea vodkas, the lemonade vodkas. Highly recommend Sun Cruiser. It's a perfect drink, not too strong, got a nice flavor to it, and no carbonation, low carbs, low calories, great beverage to sip on while you're watching a Boise State basketball game. So pick up some Sun Cruisers at your local Jackson's, Ridley's, grocery store, gas station. And as always, send a picture having a Sun Cruiser to us on social media, and we'll put you in a little pot. We got a couple the other day. Put it in a pot. Somebody sent one during the national championship game, actually. So we'll get you a prize pack if you put a Sun Cruiser in the picture and send it to us and tell us you're having it because of your support in BNN. Then we can send that off to Sun Cruiser and show them that their advertising is working here. Somebody commented on my shirt, the Western shirt. Yeah, I kind of figured it was you got to go with the little I feel like this is kind of a Wyoming shirt right here, huh? You got the kind of double pocket, kind of a weird design here. So I figured why not? We'll go with the odd design for the kind of it felt like a Western-y shirt when I was packing it the other day. So but as always, our title sponsor, Lithia Ford of Boise, online at lithiafordboise.com. They're our title sponsor. They're our pregame show sponsor. We appreciate them for their support of Bronco Nation News. Get your score predictions in. Get your comments in. We want to know where you're watching from. We'll give some shout-outs tonight. Who's going to be your Boucher Real Estate player of the game? Who do you have for your Element Fencing defensive player of the game? Let us know there. If you have any bold predictions for scoring, for how this game's going to go, let us know what you think. And we will get to those score predictions, get to those thoughts as we're about 31 minutes from tip-off here. You see the court is kind of emptied out. So we'll show you the court once the teams take the court again for Boise State and Wyoming. Somebody asking about the referees. The referees for tonight's game, yes, they have been. And the real wild card will be the ref crew. Yes, I agree. So we'll get right to it. The highest-ranked official in this game is number 123, Kevin Brill. Kevin Brill, he's a veteran Mountain West official, but he is number 123 at KenPom. Scott Brown, our friend who works for the University of Idaho, yes, he is officiating this game. He is number 173 at KenPom. He has reffed 2 Boise State games this year. The season-opening loss to Hawaii Pacific and the game at Nevada where there was like 60 fouls and free throws called as well. In that game, Boise State 0-2 with Scott Brown officiating this game. And then now the third official is a female official, Crystal Hogan, who is not ranked in the top 200 at KenPom. So you have some factors working against you here, folks. It's a Tuesday night. There's a lot of games. There's 4 Mountain West games tonight. There's a lot of games around the country. And so you're not going to be able to get the highest of highest officials when there's all these games going on a Tuesday. Also, the other factor is it's 2.5-hour drive from the Denver airport. So a lot of these higher ranked officials will just pick a game where they can land in the city and not have to worry about a drive or anything like that. So to get officials that are willing to drive the 2+ hours in this game, you have to sometimes go a little lower on the KenPom rankings for the officials, and you don't often get great officials that want to come up to Laramie unless it's a Friday night or something, or a Sunday afternoon where there's only a couple games and they want the paycheck. So you do get a little lower ranked officials sometimes in Laramie, and that is the case tonight. Kevin Brill, number 123, Scott Brown, number 173, and Crystal Hogan. It's not the female ref from before. That's Amy Bonner. Amy Bonner was the ref from a couple games ago. She's the one that Leon Rice got a technical from in the, I want to say, Wichita State game maybe. I forget which game that was. UTRGV, something like that. But it is not the same female ref. That is Amy Bonner. This is Crystal Hogan. She is a different female ref, and she is not ranked in the KenPom 200 tonight. So ref show at high altitude is no bueno. And the thing that I will say about this, though, is, as I mentioned earlier, Wyoming fouls as much as any team in the country. So you're going to get a chance to shoot a lot of free throws against Wyoming, and Boise State shoots very well from the free throw line. So tonight, it might actually be a benefit if they come in here and call a lot of fouls, because if Boise State can get to the free throw line, they have a lot of success. They're a good free throw shooting team. They get to the line and shoot a lot of free throws. So against a team that does foul a lot, this is something to keep in mind, the fact that Boise State could have an advantage at the foul line tonight. But we'll get to some other keys to the game here in a little bit. We'd love to have your thoughts, your score predictions. Let us know where you're watching the game from tonight, and we'll give some shout-outs and things as we move along here. But I do want to hear from Tim Durier and part of our interview with him from this morning here in a second. But first, want to thank Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. Idaho Central Credit Union, there's a branch pretty much on every corner, but the easiest, that mobile e-branch, online banking right there in your smartphone. You don't know what you're missing, folks, till you make the switch to ICCU, the Rains Family Bronco Nation News. So happy to have Idaho Central Credit Union as the official bank of Bronco Nation News. They're back on board as an official sponsor with Learfield and Boise State. So make the switch today. Again, ICCU. Check them out online, ICCU.com. Hopefully we'll get the 75 points tonight, which gets you a 75-cent fountain drink at Jackson's. When the Broncos get 75 or more points, you get 75-cent fountain drink at Jackson's 2 days after the game. So if they do it tonight, you get to do that on Thursday at a Treasure Valley Jackson's location. And don't forget, they also have a 99-cent coffee or hot chocolate when you use your Let's Go Rewards app. And they're the sponsor of our postgame show. We'll have the Jackson's postgame show shortly after this one goes final. Coach Rice players will join us live courtside with postgame reaction. Abe Jackson will join us, and that will be on the Jackson's postgame show on Bronco Nation News. Taco Bell, TacoBellWorks.com is the website for the Treasure Valley Taco Bell locations, the SON Management Group, the Nicolason family. We appreciate them for their support of Bronco Nation News, whether it's their tremendous award-winning breakfast, the breakfast quesadillas. They've got the crunchy chicken strips, all the great slushies. Taco Bell. Visit a Treasure Valley at Taco Bell location today, and we appreciate Taco Bell and the Nicolason family for their support of Bronco Nation News. And our other major sponsor we want to mention here in our first break is the Blue and Orange Store, online at theblueandorangestore.com. If you want those customized football, customized basketball jerseys, the Blue and Orange Store, online at theblueandorangestore.com. You can get all your Boise State gear, whether it's jerseys, hats, bumper stickers, car flags, T-shirts, you name it. The Blue and Orange Store, again, the Boise Town Square Mall, the location there at the Allen Noble Hall of Fame, or the location on your phone. Anywhere in the world, you can order on your computer, your phone, tablet at theblueandorange.store.com. You see, the Broncos have retaken the floor here at the Arena Auditorium in Laramie. You can fly into Laramie, but it's not necessarily something that a lot of people do. It just takes way longer than driving. It's just, yes, technically they have an airport here. They have like 2 flights a day, I think, that go to Denver. I'm not sure if they go anywhere else. But by the time you rent a car and just get on the road, it's just as fast and cheaper usually than flying straight into Laramie. So, yes, I'm not saying that you can't fly into Laramie, but most of the time I would assume college basketball refs and their schedule and things and wanting to take the early flight to get to a game tomorrow, they're probably driving back to the Denver airport tonight after the game to fly out early tomorrow morning, if I had to guess what the plan will be. Looks like, by the way, they're passing out some what do you call those hats with the puffy ears on the sides that come down, the winter hats that Clark Griswold used to wear. I don't know if I forget what you call them, but they're passing out these hats over here to some of the students and stuff. Looks like a free giveaway tonight for some students and some fans. The winter hats looks like that's going to be the giveaway tonight. So I'm blanking on what the name of that is. Maybe it's just a winter hat with the ear pockets or whatever they call them. But again, crowd filing in, not the largest crowd. Boise State will play the Elmer Fudd hat. We'll call that. We'll count that. Not the largest crowd Boise State is going to play in front of this year, no doubt about it. We got 80-65 is Rob Hawkins' prediction. He just moved from Pocatello. He misses Boise, or watching in Pocatello, just moved from Boise. No, Amy Bonner is not the official that was here a couple weeks ago. Crystal Hogan, I don't think, has done a Boise State game yet this year. She did a game against San Jose a couple years ago, but she gets some Mountain West games here and there. But like I said, not ranked in the top 200 of the Ken Pom rankings here. So keep getting your score predictions in. Keep getting your comments in as we take you up to tip-off. 24 minutes on the clock. Boise State and Wyoming as the Broncos look to win a second straight game. We got the Stable watching from Florida. Certainly jealous of that. But let's hear a little bit from Tim Durier. We'll keep showing you the warm-ups, but Tim Durier was on our morning show, Bronco Nation News, this morning at 9 o'clock, talking about this offense, this game tonight. I'm not sure we'll play the whole interview, but let's hear a little bit from Tim Durier and see if this offense can keep its momentum going here tonight against Wyoming.
Yeah, we're still making strides, and I think the improvement of Dylan Andrews is really kind of where it all starts. And your point guard is always an extremely important part of your offense, and he leads the way. He gets you organized. He makes plays for others, and when he's shooting the ball well, obviously that helps us a lot too. But Dylan has made a lot of strides in the last couple of weeks and really just kind of getting comfortable. I think that's the most important thing with him is mentally the game is kind of slowing down and he's figuring out, hey, where can I make plays for myself? Where can I make plays for my teammates? What the strength of our team is, getting the post guys more involved, playing off post double teams, which we see a lot of those. And so I just think it's mental comfort and physical comfort with him has kind of improved and ratcheted up the last week, 10 days.
You've been a part of some great offenses. You've also been a part in your career where things like this happen, where you have a stretch where maybe it's just not going the way you want to offensively. What has been the challenge this year, I guess, overall with the offense?
I think every team, probably, or most teams go through, ups and downs offensively. And, you look at our team last year and it's really the experience at the point and then having Tyson, along the lines, we end up the 39th rated offense in the whole country last year. And, at the end of the year, we were machine-like when we got to the crown and really through the second half of the conference season. And so you kind of start all over with a new team, a new identity, a new point guard. Obviously Drew Fielder being in the mix is a little bit different style player that we can use both inside and outside. And so I think, we went through a lull there where we got a lot of good shots and just didn't make them. And then we hit a buzzsaw there with a couple of teams that really schemed up the game defensively, and we didn't handle that very well and kind of went into an offensive lull. But, the better our defense is, the better our offense is, because we can force misses. We can get out in the open floor. We've got guys that can spot up and make threes in transition. We did a good job there for a while of really throwing the ball to what we call the first post in transition, and getting some easy baskets there. And so obviously it kind of goes hand in hand. When your defense is really dominant, which ours has been at times this year, it carries over to the offensive end. And when you got to take the ball out of the net all the time and really crank it out against really good half-court defenses, especially in the league where everybody really knows you well, offense gets tougher. But I think we did a great job at UNLV in really, reestablishing our purpose offensively inside to out, and that carried over, in the Colorado State game. So hopefully we can just keep going as, we kind of develop this personality and get better from here.
Tim Durier, our guest, veteran assistant coach here at Boise State, playing Wyoming tonight. We appreciate on the game day coach's time here. And Coach Rice said after, I guess it was the Utah State game, something to the effect of what necessarily the game plan is, or what the offense is supposed to be wasn't at that point necessarily clicking with what the players were doing and what you wanted them to do. How does that kind of what does he kind of mean there?
I think the main thing when you're a good offensive team, you have a great purpose on every possession. Your team knows what your purpose is. That matches up with the staff. You play to your strengths. It doesn't always mean you're going to get a great shot. Doesn't always mean obviously you're going to make the shot, but at least everybody is on the same page in terms of, hey, who are we playing through? Who is our first option? Who is our second option? What are we doing when those things are taken away? How do we get what we call the next action? We have a term NBA, next best action. When they guard one action, you got to get to another action quickly. And, with the 30-second shot clock, the quicker you can do that, with the more pace and the more purpose, the better. And I think that's really where we've improved and what we've tried to focus on the last couple weeks.
Feels like a lot of, again, my untrained eye watching the last two games seems like a lot more attacking the basket too. Has that been a key?
True. Definitely try to do that. Yeah, we always try to attack the paint, whether that's on the pass to the post, whether that's off the bounce, whether that's off a ball screen. The more paint touches you get, the higher your efficiency goes, the more you get fouled. And we've done a really good job this year of getting fouled and getting to the free throw line. We're a good free throw shooting team, so the more we can do that, the better. And that's always an emphasis for us.
We had a comment on YouTube coming in here. Somebody wanted to know, Coach, could you please explain the offensive scheme? What are you expecting when we bring the ball up the floor, and how does that change man-to-man or a zone?
Yeah, it does change. Zone, a lot of times, it takes a little bit longer to get a paint touch. Obviously, that's what a zone is designed to do, is keep the ball from going to the post, going to the paint. And, so we have a lot of what we call zone specials we run and try to put guys in different positions. When we see it's a zone and as opposed to where we see it's a man, we try to play a little bit more, free flowing style and with a little bit more inside emphasis with this team. So, teams that change up defenses a lot, that can give you problems, especially with a point guard that's new to your system. And so we expect to see some zone tonight from Wyoming, man and zone. And so the better we can kind of surf between the two and diagnose the different defenses, the quicker we can get on the attack.
So what's the average number of possessions you typically have in a game, probably?
Roughly 70, give or take,
possessions. 70 possessions. How many of those 70 possessions are you running like a set play?
On misses, we're getting out and running. We're really never running a set play. And so, again, the more stops we can get, the more we can get into kind of a motion game. On made baskets, most of the time we're going to try to direct the ball with a set, to a certain player in a certain spot, or get a certain action that we think the other team is susceptible to, that we can attack. So, that depends on, again, your defense. Your offense is tied to your defense. The more times we take the ball out of the net, the more set plays we're going to run.
So you have, I guess, just to explain for fans, you have a set, plays that is designed to do one thing, but then you have like an offense, so to speak, where just motion or just, cut, back screen. There's something where it's just a flow guys can get into where there's multiple things that just kind of play out during the 30 seconds.
No doubt. Yeah. That's on a made basket. We're going to try, like I said, we're going to try quickly to get the ball to a certain player in a certain spot. And if that doesn't happen, or can happen, or we get double teams and the ball comes out, then we got to get to the next thing, which is really our flow game. And that's, that includes handoffs, ball screens, penetration, things that are trying to attack the paint. Stats will show you that the paint touches inside out threes are a lot more efficient than threes where the ball doesn't touch the paint, usually because you got the defense in a rotation. And that's our goal, every time offensively, is to create an advantage, either by throwing the ball inside or by penetrating the ball. If you get two people to have to guard the ball, it creates an advantage. From there, your statistics, your efficiency goes way up.
I was looking at some of the KenPom offensive numbers, and as you know, some of them are not great at this point in the season. But as you said last year, some of them weren't great halfway through, and you finished very strong. Is there one stat right now, if you could just, that you think could be a huge key to the offense really improving? I mean, obviously making shots is big, but is it some of the assist number stats? Is it whether it's 3-point percentage versus, shots in the paint? For some reason, your guys' block percentage is really low. Are you just playing a lot of good shot blockers? Do you guys just go in there and get blocked a lot? I don't know. That's a weird side story, but what is something for you where it's like, okay, if the offense is really going to continue to kind of evolve that next step, one thing I
think there's two things really. They're 1A and 1B. Our 2-point percentage around the rim needs to get better. We've missed some shots in there that we have the ability to make. And then the other thing is our turnover percentage. If that could lower a little bit, and we're not turning the ball over at an alarming rate, but there's 2 or 3 turnovers per game that we could avoid. That would really help our turnover rate. That obviously it gives you 2 or 3 more chances, to get the ball on the rim with a shot. We're a good offensive rebounding team. And so anytime we can get a shot on the rim, we have a great chance to either make it, obviously, or, get a second shot. And so I think those two things, 1A and 1B, our 2-point percentage, which last year was phenomenal, way up there in the country. That's been a big difference. And then, like I said, 2 or 3 turnovers a game that kind of unforced that you'd like to eliminate. That would be great.
We got Javen Buchanan's dad in the chat, says, bang in the paint, coach. We got a lot of guys, fans excited. 2 quick ones, and I'll get you out of here. Now you got to get back to your prep here, and I appreciate your time. But just you mentioned Dylan Andrews. What we've seen from him the last 2 games, it seems like most of the shots are, for the most part, I know that you guys are trying to avoid maybe that long 2-point jumper and either get to the paint or take the 3. But for the most part, he's taking a lot of the same shots. He just started to make some more of them in the last game. But if he's playing and hitting shots at this level and doing what he's doing, not turning the ball over, and his assist numbers have gone up, if you're getting this version of Dylan Andrews that we've seen the last 2 games, the rest of the season, how good does that make this team?
We take a big jump. We take a big jump. That one, and, we mentioned Javen, obviously, not having him healthy for the last 3 games has been huge because, he's a guy that gives us obviously a threat from 3, but he's also a guy that we really try to take advantage of mismatches inside and throw him the ball in the post. And so that's an element that obviously we've missed the last 2 or 3 games. And, he was phenomenal to start the Colorado State game. He set the tone really on both ends. And got us going and got us in the right frame of mind. And then, he hadn't played in a while, so his body kind of gave out on him a little bit, there in the second half. But if we can get him healthy and keep him going the right direction, along with Dylan, those are 2 humongous reasons for us to be able to improve offensively.
Sundance Wicks in year 2 at Wyoming. Obviously, they've got a pretty good squad this year. That UNLV score gets your attention. Some of the other games they've had, and always for different reasons, a tough place to play here in Laramie as well. For the hundreds of fans watching this right now, what's the scouting report on Wyoming, and just to look ahead to the game tonight?
Yeah, they're a perimeter oriented team. They do a good job offensively, and probably they throw the ball to the ball screen or to the roller probably more than any team we've played all year. That, and they'll change defenses a little bit on you. But I think the number one thing Sundance has got them to, they play extremely hard. And they take a lot of pride in, being at Wyoming and their home floor at Wyoming, and have done a good job here. And he's instilled a lot of, pride in the program, and they play really, really hard. No matter if they're playing, their man defense, they'll switch it up and play some 1-2-2 zone, and they get after you defensively, and they rebound as a group. Even offensively, their guards will offensive rebound, and that's a problem. If usually point guards, 2 guards aren't used to their men going to the offensive glass. So we've got to be very cognizant of that tonight. Block out, don't give them second shots. and then we've got to attack the paint on them. They're a little bit down on their depth, inside, and we've got to play inside out, whether it's man or zone, get those paint touches and knock down some shots.
You gonna miss Larry Dice, Coach?
I have to say, this is I love Laramie, but this is our last trip here, and that's good.
Well, Coach, appreciate your time. We'll let you get back to the prep.
Okay,
Good luck
you,
tonight. Thanks a lot. There he is, Tim Durier. Appreciate him for his time this morning. Some great stuff there on the offense. I know Tim has been criticized a little bit by some of you, by me, by others in the media. Obviously, the offense has struggled at times this season, but shout out to Tim Durier for being willing to come on the show this morning, and we always appreciate his time. We're going to try to get Mike Burns on next week ahead of the Grand Canyon game. So we got Tim Durier on, and again, on a game day, they got meetings and film and all this stuff. So he took 12 minutes out of his morning and left breakfast a little early to make that work. So we appreciate Tim Durier for his time this morning. We got a lot of score predictions coming in, a lot of thoughts here. Altitude going to give Andrews that extra lift to make all of his baskets. There you go. That'd be nice. A lot of those shots that are hitting the rim, maybe tonight they don't hit the rim. Maybe tonight they go right in here. I mentioned this earlier, but for those of you that just kind of came in a little bit late, again, this is the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show. Lithia Ford Boise, check them out online at lithiafordboise.com. We are in the Sun Cruiser studios. Pick up a Sun Cruiser and let the good times cruise, whether it's the vodka lemonades, the iced tea lemonades. We appreciate Sun Cruiser, and we're in the Sun Cruiser studios here in Laramie, Wyoming. Again, they got the media kind of up here in the corner, so to speak. So not the premier seating that we get at some of the Mountain West venues, but really nice, and appreciate the hospitality here. They've got us an Ethernet cord. They've got all kinds of drinks up here, cold soda and water, of course, not Sun Cruisers or anything, which we would prefer. But no, they do a nice job here to help us out, and we appreciate Wyoming for their help from their media relations staff. And we're excited to be here again. Other than Bob and Abe on the radio side, we're the only media outlet that made the trip here to this game. So when you put your subscription dollars down to get your Boise State coverage, hopefully you keep that in mind. And the Bronco Nation News is your spot. We do have that $5 a month, I think it is, 50% off right now for those deals, or 50% off our annual subscriptions. So whether it's spring football, basketball, getting ready for next football season, we would love to have you at BroncoNationNews.com. You can check that out. Dylan Hawley has 70-65 is what he would love. Chad's got 69-66-20 for Buchanan. 75-59 is what the stable's going with. Denise has 73-64. George is going to go 62-58. And watching from Air Stagnation, Boise. So it must be the inversion's going to be greeting us again tomorrow when we get back, I guess. But you look at Boise State and their history against Wyoming. The Broncos have won 18 of the last 20 here in Laramie. Again, 18-2 in their last 20 here in Laramie. Leon Rice, all-time in this building, 11-4. So Leon Rice has some tricks with the beat juice and the altitude machine and some of those that maybe necessarily aren't real. But he also subs differently. He gets a lot of guys in the game. He has different subbing patterns, and they've got a system in terms of when they arrive and what they do on game day and the hydration, and they have a system that really seems to work. And Leon Rice, 11-4 all-time in this building. He's 21-7 overall against the Wyoming Cowboys, 9-2 in their last 11 in this building. So Boise State has had some recent success in here, 9-2 in their last 11. They have won 3 games in a row in this building, and they're taking on a Wyoming team, guys, 11-7 overall, 2-5 on in the conference play. They've lost 3 games in a row. They just had a tough one at Fresno State the other night. That was one they probably should have won, but they've lost 3 games in a row. And but Naz Meyer, their second leading scorer at 13.7 points per game, at 5.2 rebounds per game, their leading rebounder, he is out for tonight's game. Their second leading scorer, one of their best players, second leading scorer and leading rebounder, again, out for tonight's game due to an injury. They are a pretty balanced team. They've got some other guys that are averaging, 7.5, 8.5, 9.2, 14.4. So they've got some other guys that can score the basketball. But when you have 13.7 points per game, the freshman Nasir Meyer, he's out. That's a big loss for them. They do have Leland Walker, number 5. That is the guy to watch tonight, a senior from Indianapolis, 14.4 points per game. Also leads the team with 3.9 assists per game. So Leland Walker, number 5, he is the guy to keep an eye on tonight for Wyoming because, again, number 2 is out. Nasir Meyer had a boot on his foot down there before the game. But even with them losing 3 in a row, even with Boise State kind of dominating the series here, the Vegas line has this game as a pick'em, or even in some books, 1 or 1.5 point favorite for Wyoming. I think people are a little surprised by that. Wyoming a favorite in tonight's game. So if Boise State wins this game, which a lot of people on this chat thinks will happen, and I think will probably happen, it would be an upset. I mean, I might have to open the post-game show and say it was an upset win for Boise State. Like, they're 1.5 point underdogs in this game. So we'll see what happens. I'm a little skeptical of that line. Sometimes you look at a line and it's weird and you go, okay, they know something. There's a reason it's weird. And if Wyoming wins this game, we're going to say, you know what, we should have saw it coming. We should have seen the line. But if Boise State wins this game rather comfortably, which I think could happen, you're going to go, yeah, that line just looked off from the start, and hopefully you took it and you took it right to the bank and won some money off your bookie tonight, because that line doesn't really jive. I know Boise State had the 4-game losing streak, bounced back at home against Colorado State, but you think Boise State is a better team than Wyoming at this point. I know it hasn't showed to this point in the season, but certainly you're wondering if that's why the line is what it is. You see Boise State coming back onto the floor here. This is your crowd with 5 minutes on the clock until tip-off. Again, this is 6:23 local time. This game is going to tip at 6:32 in 9 minutes. So this is your crowd right now. Maybe everybody's out in the beer line. Not really sure, but they're not expecting a big crowd for this game. And this is your crowd as you look with 9 minutes, only 4 minutes on the clock, but this ball will tip in 9 minutes at 6:32 local time. Boise State going with the blue uniforms. I'm a big fan of the new blue uniforms. Boise State across the chest, the orange and white trim, and the coaches will be wearing the blue jackets, the blue polos tonight as well. As you see, everybody's healthy. Everybody's out there. I mean, some guys are dealing with some minor things. As you see Andrew Meadow and Javen Buchanan, the last two to jog out onto the court. Everybody looks healthy. Everybody looks ready to go. So Boise State's going to be at full strength tonight. Wyoming's going to be without one of their starters, and yet still Wyoming comes into this game as a 1.5 point favorite at the sports books, including our friends at Circa Resort and Casino. Won't feel like an upset. I always expect they'll beat Wyoming. Melinda Draper, always appreciate you for watching. 75-68. That seems like about the right score that I would probably go with, and that would include a 75-cent fountain drink at Jackson's. If they can get to 75 points, that'll be 2 days from now. You get 75-cent fountain drink from our friends at Jackson's. You see in the upper portion of your screen the 3 officials taking the floor. Wyoming taking the floor as well. You see the flags. Wyoming taking the floor to a standing ovation from the crowd, but you see the referees taking the floor. I mentioned the referees earlier in the game. Not your A crew for a game of on a Tuesday night in Laramie. Hard to get a good officiating crew, and you get Kevin Brill, number 123 at Ken Palm, Scott Brown, number 173 at Ken Palm, and Crystal Hogan, who is not ranked in the top 200 at Ken Palm. Those are your officials as assigned by the Mountain West Conference and the consortium there, and it is what it is, folks. You don't get great officials when it's a Tuesday in Laramie. It is what it is. So you see Sundance Wicks, head coach at Wyoming. He's still wearing the sport coat tonight. He's shaking hands with all of the Wyoming coaches, or the Boise State coaches, I should say, and coaches going through their pleasantries there in the line. Leon Rice has a little hug for Sundance Wicks there. He's got a gift for him in the back. Waiting to find out what that gift is going to be. He gave Brian Dutcher like an oxygen tank, portable oxygen tank. Leon Rice still laughing, so whatever he was given, he's looking at it again right now, and it looks pretty funny there. Some sort of gimmick or note that he did get from Sundance Wicks there for Boise State's final scheduled trip to Laramie. Laradice. I think this is my 13 years covering Boise State. I think this is my 14th trip here, something like that. You come pretty much every other year for football every year for basketball. There's been a year or two where it hasn't worked out with basketball tournaments and things where I had to miss a football game. The COVID year, they came here twice. So I was trying to add it up. I'm over 10. I'm somewhere between like 12 and 15 trips to Laramie. Don't mind the city. The travel's not great. Getting here is not easy. But once you're here, it's a nice little town. Got a couple of good restaurants and sports bars, and I don't mind it. It's not the worst place in the world. So a couple other sponsors we want to thank real quick. Signature Roofing online at mysignatureroofing.com. Whether it's a re-roof or repair, an estimate, or an inspection, all your roofing needs, check out mysignatureroofing.com. We'll pick a Matt Bauscher Player of the Game coming up after the game. Bauscher Real Estate online at bauscherrealestate.com. Element Fencing, all your fencing needs, check out elementfencing.com. We'll have that defensive Player of the Game coming up after the game. Ridley's Family Markets, shop ridleys.com. 13 locations in the state of Idaho, surrounding states, even a location here in Laramie, Wyoming. Check out Ridley's Family Markets online at shopridleys.com. Rowpaint.com, all your painting needs, re-roof, repair, estimate, or an inspection. Check them out online at rowpaint.com. They can do the interior, exterior painting. They can do the concrete coatings. So many painting options. Rowpaint.com. We appreciate them. All your painting options, rowpaint.com. And transportation compliance service. Check them out. Transcomservice.com. You can get into the trucking industry with transcomservice.com. Going to take a quick timeout for the national anthem. We'll be right back after this.
It's the all-wheel drive event at Lithia Ford of Boise. From hunting trips to ski trips to trips to Grandma's house. Nobody does AWD like LFB. Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
Eat Lux your way with the Lux Cravings boxes from Taco Bell. There's the classic $5 box, the indulgent $7 box, and a whole new obsession in the $9 box, the Flamin' Hot Grilled Cheese Burrito. Try the Lux Cravings boxes at Taco Bell today.
Find your sun with Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. Cold, refreshing, and made for moments like these all year long. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser.
As sports fans, we may cheer for different teams, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. We want the game to be big. And with 3 levels, 30 cabanas, a 143-foot screen, 6 clean pools, and endless cold drinks, it doesn't get any bigger or any better than Stadium Swim in Las Vegas. All sports, all seasons. It's more than a pool deck. Stadium Swim. It's the only thing like it in the world.
You are currently at 7,220 feet above.
All right, they are letting you know right now on the scoreboard that you are at 7,200 and shortness of breath, rapid heartbeat, excessive sweating, confusion, nausea. 72-20. How's your oxygen? They're trying to get Boise State fan a little intimidation before this one. We got to get off the air, getting ready for tip-off. Boise State and Wyoming. The game is over on the Mountain West Network. They're doing the starting lineups and then getting this game tipped off. Again, exclusive coverage here on Bronco Nation News. Flip on over to the Mountain West Network, watch this game, and then join us back here on the postgame show. The Jacksons postgame show will be live here postgame courtside with Leon Rice and players on the Jacksons postgame show. Again, thank you so much for watching this pregame show. Appreciate you guys for your support. Go support the sponsors and enjoy the game. We'll talk to you on the postgame show here on Bronco Nation News. Enjoy the game, everybody. We'll see you on the postgame show. Boise State, Wyoming, coming up shortly here on Bronco Nation News.